Hello, everybody. Today we are on episode 17. Right now we don't have Henry at the moment because he's on trip right now. He's on tour with Ethan, but I'm going to be hosting today. And we have a lovely, lovely guest for this episode. We have Mr. Eric, aka King Nidhogg. He's a Challenger League player. He's also an avid streamer and high APMs when he plays games. How are you doing, Eric?
Doing pretty good. That's quite an intro, because I feel like that's like the classic thing a lot of people talk about, high APM. But I think in reality, it's a lot of people making the mistake of thinking. Oh, I mean, first of all, yes, I try to play pretty quickly for a lot of things if it's necessary. But it's also probably because like my keyboard's really loud, so people used to think like, oh my god, this guy's like smashing his buttons all the time. But it was like it was like my mic setup was like kind of bad. But it's funny that I saw that kind of title.
No, I feel you. I remember, so actually going into like, I think how I found you was like, I used to play a lot of League. So I played since like season 1.
Oh my god, okay,
and
wow.
This is like way back. I was like fucking, I think this is when, okay, this is for anyone who watches League, but I'm just doing it for the sake of just some memories. This is when fucking Lee Sin first came out.
Damn, that's older than me actually. I played like season 3 or so.
Yeah.
Or early season 3, like late season 2. I remember being like, dude, how old are you? I'm like 25.
I'm 25.
Okay.
Wow.
You play a little bit younger than me. Yeah, because I was in China at the time, and I guess it didn't hit China until like a little bit late. I mean, obviously, like the game was out, but like there's like no Chinese server. I think
there's Garena.
I think not. Yeah, I don't really remember. I was like 12 or something. Basically, it wasn't like that big, so we would play like on the NA server, like all me and my lads, because we were like international students, right?
Yeah.
And so we started like a little bit later than everyone else, but I thought I was like pretty early. But season 1 is pretty insane for sure.
No,
you're like what, like 9 or 10?
Yeah, like I don't know why. I remember I was playing. We played so much. I remember I played so much Twisted Tree Line, so the 3v3 back then.
Yeah. I love that shit. Are we allowed to swear, by the way?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, okay. I love that shit because, dude, like. It was something about like playing a game that looked that polished compared to like Dota.
Mm-hmm.
Like I used to play like a lot of Dota or like some StarCraft, right? And like they weren't like bad looking, but League looked pretty bad, but like Twisted Tree Line in particular looked really, really nice.
Yeah, it was like mystical.
It was like all like
yeah.
like dark, like Halloween kind of. Yeah, I love that shit. The second version of Twisted Tree Line though.
Oh, the updated one.
Yeah, the updated
one.
Yeah, the updated one was 100% better. Which one do I look at, by the way?
No, you can look at me.
Oh, okay.
It's like we're having a conversation.
All right.
But I guess, yeah, I mean, even starting with it, I think a lot of people here would love to hear your story and how you even got involved in League. Because, I mean, if I recall right, you were playing pretty like high level League at a young age. Like you were like Challenger, like you were like 14, 15.
Yeah, I was about 15.
Yeah, like
I can't even remember. It's so funny. Yesterday I was playing Jackbox and I did this exact question. I'm like, was I 15 or 14 at Challenger? I'm like, well, I have no doubt that I was probably around like 14. I know for a fact that 15 I was, but the reason why is because like I got in the middle of the season somewhere, and my birthday's in the middle of the season, May 28th, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, I forgot if I got it before or after. I could probably check my Facebook or something, because I used to like post all my like, oh, I just got this or I just got that, or like played against double lift, like that kind of shit. But let's just go with 15 for safety. You know, like I was pretty high elo pretty early, because long time ago when we were playing, back when we were like all on like shitty ping, like 200 ping from playing from China, like all of my friends, we were all like bronze.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like we were like, I mean, obviously, because like half of us would like disconnect, right? Like we would just like accidentally like, oh no, the router is like shitty or something, or Wi-Fi shitty, and then we just like DC, and then we just lose the game. It was like normal, and we get lever busted all the time. So that's actually how my name came about, Nidhogg. It was funny. I didn't used to go under that handle, but because so many of my accounts got banned from getting lever busted, I was like cycling through names that I would use in the past. And then finally I went with like Nidhogg is like a thing from my childhood, right? So I was like, oh, X Master Nidhogg X, like, you know,
like
one
Weed
of those
Wizard,
kids.
420 Weed Wizard.
Yeah, that kind of shit. No, exactly, like putting the X's and shit and like the
Yeah.
capitalized. So then that was the account that I never got banned on, because, you know, for some reason the ping was a little bit better eventually, and then all my friends made fun of me for being bronze 5, which is technically the lowest rank at the time. Now we have like some shit like iron or whatever. And like some of them, like the Koreans in the school, the Korean group was like particularly good, and they would get to like they get to like silver kind of. But like thinking back then, like, oh, we were all shit. But like, you know what I mean? Like silver is like at least still somewhat better than bronze. So eventually, when I went to Canada, when I finished middle school, I went back to Canada. I was about 13 or so. That's when I decided, like, oh, you think I'm bad? Like, now I got good ping. So
It's over.
so I went from bronze 5 to platinum 1 in one season.
Yeah.
And in season 3, plat. And then season 4, I ended masters. Right.
Wow.
I believe I got challenger during season 4, but I ended masters. And then season 5, I ended masters. These it's so sad because like these seasons, I distinctly remember doing like the end of season climb, which would be around the start of like the school year, around like November. Obviously, we start in September, but then like November or so, like we're supposed to like do our work and shit, right? Because like September, like they go easy on you, right? Like in Canadian high schools and stuff, and like October is like ramping up, and November is like, okay, now we got like real like projects and shit to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd always like stress out. I remember those 2 seasons, 4 and 5, I ended masters. One of them I lost because I didn't get challenger because fucking double lift and piglet back to back in my last games that I needed to get the challenger, they just shit on me. And I remember getting like minus 29 and I'm like crying there, dude. I was so sad. But finally season 6, you know, when I was 16 or so, I had the time to like get the challenger. But that's like my first breakthrough into being like high elo, just kind of sitting there as like a little kid, just fucking grinding all the time, driven by like, oh, like people talking shit about me, like, oh, you think I'm bad? And then funnily enough, like in 10th grade, some of my middle school lads are like cheering me on and shit. They're like, oh, yo, we see your name and stuff. And then like I had that kind of like dissonance. I'm like, in my mind, they were my enemies because they're like, they talk shit about my rank. But then like they'll be all friendly and stuff and like encouraging me. I'm like, oh, we were just like talking shit as kids. Like, but I use that as like fuel. You know what I mean?
I get you.
I use that as like huge fuel. Just like, oh, dude, I'm not the worst. It's because one time we all made a deal that once we all hit level 30, we would play like a 5 versus 5, right?
Yeah.
And like the Koreans would play against the internationals, and I was part of like the internationals, even though I'm like technically Korean, right? But like the Korean speakers were like the better ones. They replaced me. I was supposed to be on that team against them.
No!
They replaced me with Ricky. Fucking Ricky, right? But I mean, shout out to Ricky, I guess, right? Ricky Ho. He donated me. He gifted me my first Jarvan skin, which actually got me to play Jarvan, which became
That was like your thing. Like,
which became my number 1 champion. Actually, I played Jarvan because of that skin. Well, not necessarily, but I like the more because of the skin. So a lot of connections that people might not know. But you know, a career can start with something as simple as I got shit talked or I got a skin, and I guess that's how it went.
So do you think like the drive behind you climbing up to like, you know, challenger, the high level, was it for you to prove something? What was like the main thing that lit that fire to
Yeah,
like,
I mean initially it was like all the, you know, random like petty stuff, right? The spite, but eventually it just became like I really like getting a higher rank than others. I really like being able to set myself apart. That's like what any stupid fucking 14-year-old thinks, right? Like every like 14-year-old is just insecure about shit. It's like, oh, like I needed something to like feel good about, and it became my personality, of course, right? Like when I was, you know, even until I'm like 16, 17, I always just thought like, yeah, like this is the one shining jewel that I have in my life that I can cite. I'm good at this video game, right? I wasn't necessarily good at like school, or like I wasn't like attractive or like really strong or anything, right? So I was just like, oh, I mean, I have like this game, I have this name, I have like, you know, all the audience attached to it too, because I became a streamer at 16, right? And I started thinking like, oh, I'm better than others, right? It's that kind of obvious ego that drives a lot of people, and like I was, you know, I was part of that group too.
Damn. Well, okay, so I mean, I could definitely see that, because I feel like at a young age, I feel like when, I don't know, like even for me, like I used to do like a lot of I was super involved in like e-commerce and shit, right? So I did a lot. I was like around those like kids, yo, you know, those like that Sigma, like, yo, drop ship, make like 500 G's type like mentality.
Fuck that, yeah.
So I was around like that kind of community when I was like young, and I feel like a lot of those kids, like they, like when you start like making success or they have something to prove, it's like this high sense of like ego, really just trying to like make that their identity, which is fine, because like end of the day, I agree with you. Like when we're all in high school, we're just trying to figure out who we are. I think an even interesting thing I wanted to ask is like, even till today, right now that you're 25, when you look back to that kid that had that drive or that passion or that identity as League of Legends, like do you still resonate with that in terms of being the best?
No, honestly, no. I don't need that anymore. Let me see if I'm getting you right. You're asking if I have that sort of mentality still, or do I kind of feel the same way as I did when I was 16 or so?
Yeah, even feel the same way, or is that, do you feel, what's your
Right.
drive now? Like, when
Okay.
you're playing?
Actually, I guess I'll change my answer then. Yes, I absolutely do resonate with it, but it's a different sort of thing. So, I mean, I used to feel that way about League of Legends, right? I gotta get to the top and whatnot. But now I have the same feeling, but it's for a different thing. It's not necessarily League of Legends. It's more like creation, right? Like content creation. Not to be
Yeah.
too much of a virgin or nerd about it, but like let's be real. I mean, I have to make videos. I have to, keep myself afloat, and it's a job now, right? And but luckily enough, I not only enjoy the job, but I feel like I'm good at it, and I also have that thing that I mentioned about League, that sort of drive where it's like I'm good at it, I do it, it's a job, but I also like want to do it. You know what I mean? I want to do it because I feel like when it comes to my ideas, my creativity and stuff, I've got like something going there. I get told this, I get that kind of feedback saying, oh wow, we really like what you're doing, or like your editing's getting better. You know what I mean? It's just those sorts of things. They definitely keep me motivated. But number one would be in my own head. I have that kind of like I want to get to like rank 1 YouTube. I mean, not like obviously that's just it's like more difficult than Challenger, right? But this idea of grinding, getting better, it's translated from just being good at League to being good at doing my job, basically. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Which is a more like fruitful thing to do, because like getting good at a video game doesn't do anything for most people. Thankfully, I turned it into a job. But now that it is a job and I do have those kind of skills, I moved on to the next thing, which is like, how do I market my skill in League of Legends? And that becomes my new grind. You get what I mean?
Yeah, like you're trying to like beyond just like King Nidhogg as a player in League, you're being like King Nidhogg as a brand, like as a
Right.
persona in
I like
the
that.
gaming world.
I like that. Yeah, I like that way of phrasing it. Yeah, instead of as a player, now it's a brand. That's right. Which sounds so weird talking about myself in third person, but like I technically am a brand now, right? So it's funny. You have to like register yourself as like a business or whatever in like Ontario or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, so you also edit your own videos as well then?
Yeah, I do
Wow.
everything. I do everything solo.
That's crazy. And you're pretty consistent too with posting that stuff. Like that's actually
Every
quite
day.
a bit.
Every day except today.
Except today.
Yeah,
Wow,
I made
thank you.
I made the and my birthday, so we only have 2 exceptions here.
So how's like the schedule like when you're working? Is it like what is your, I guess, your schedule when you do like these kind of things?
My schedule, it's when I wake up, whenever that is, I go and get my footage. Once I get my footage, I like repeatedly I do this thing where in my head, like if I ever get lazy, I just repeat willpower in my head just over, like I need willpower. I need to do this shit right now. And then I just go straight to editing, and then once I'm there, good thing I like my job, right? So I sit there and I do it for like an hour to up to 2 hours of editing, and then once I finish, I'm like, oh god, okay, nice. And then it's basically like vibes. Whenever I feel, I don't have like a 1 to 3 or like a 5 to 6, which is probably not a good thing. Obviously, you would want like a consistent schedule, consistent in the sense that like you're doing the same time, same day. But like at least I'm consistent in the sense that I get it done during the day. It's just whenever I do it, might depend. I could do it at 4, I could do it at like 11, I could do it until 2 a.m. and then just schedule upload. I'm like, oh, okay, weight's off my chest. So I'm consistent daily, but the process behind it is not exactly the most consistent. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because I feel like you also have those like strokes of inspiration as well for
Yes.
that editing, and then also
Yes.
it's like I think it's the same thing even with gaming or in any creative part. You got to get into your flow. Like for that thing doesn't
Yeah.
come like when you want it to. It's like
It
really
doesn't.
like
It really doesn't. Yeah, there are a lot of times where like, okay, so I guess I'll describe in more nerdy terms. I'm not sure if your audience will ever know League perfectly, but basically there are a lot of different, like, let's say you get like a Lego set or something, right? Like there are a lot of different things that you can build with a Lego set. You could build a plane, you could build a fucking dinosaur or whatever, right? But you know that there's a lot of those sort of things out there. It's just you haven't really like visualized what it looks like yet, so you can't even begin to build it, right? So for me, like gathering all the video editing, or sorry, all like the footage, like playing the game itself and playing the different strategies and trying those things, that's not even like the start of it. Like I've got so many different like almost for you, for example, like you would have like episodes with different guests, but you have to choose which one to like put out first.
Yeah.
For me, I'm like, do I want the dinosaur? Do I want the plane? And like I can't even begin until I get that kind of like, oh, this is how I want the video to go. I can imagine this intro. I can like hear myself, and I can see like how I like what kind of like jokes or
Like
memes.
moments. Just moments.
Yeah, moments.
Yeah.
Yeah, what kind of moments do I want to create? So yeah, I do agree with that thing. Like you can't get into it until you get that kind of flow going. So like I might just sit there, literally in my chair, just like this, just thinking. Or like the shower is really really powerful because like I just sit there in the shower like, okay, I can see this, I can and then I go to edit it. You know what I mean? So it's tough in the sense that like if I ever lose that, if that doesn't come to me in that moment, I have to put out something that I know is lower quality. Which is funny because a lot of people, I think they don't understand people like us, I guess, that do this kind of creative work where you can't just put something out that's like lower quality. That'll sit in your mind. I mean, you could if you're like, obviously like it'd make money and people would watch it, right? But like for someone like me, I imagine, people like us probably share the same trait where, you just feel kind of like, oh, like I could have done better there. Hopefully, I would assume most people would have that.
100%. I feel like it's this weird like push and pull because there's like that level of like, yo, it's good enough where it's like, yo, if I like just like tunnel too hard, it's never gonna come out. Versus like, oh, if I just don't give a fuck anymore about the content, then it's gonna like look lower quality. I would say for like this is I guess a parallel with like music. Is that when we work on music, like there's always, you could for the rest of your life always think that this could have been better. Like there's no song that I've ever made or there's no video that we've ever did that I haven't thought like this is like perfect. There's always like things to do that. But I feel like once you go from that 90 to that 100% of fidelity, dude, it takes so long.
It takes way too long.
That's when you have to be like, yo, this is the best I could do at this time. But I think that is it. Like that 80 to 90 is perfect. Anything like before that or lower than that is like that's when you start asking yourself like, fuck, like
it's definitely asymptotic for sure. It's but that's the thing, right? It's like see a lot of people will say something like oh, just throw it out there. It's like it's not like I'm not aware of myself and like how much I demand out of myself. I obviously will have a cutoff point where I go, okay, I've done as much as I can. I'm gonna just ship it. Like this is good enough.
Yeah.
Right. Like we're talking about that 80, 90. Yeah. No, I definitely do that. But like when I say like, oh, like I have like high standards for myself, I find that a lot of people, they don't understand it in the sense that maybe it's like a respect thing. Like they don't respect the creators enough. I guess like, I mean, you probably deal with the same thing, right? Like just random people shredding on your business. Like they don't know what goes on in your head. They don't know what goes on in my head. So I guess I'll say it out loud where it's like, you can trust me to have my own cutoff point. Because I do upload daily, right? At some point, I do cut it off, right?
Yeah.
And I just say, I'm going to ship it. But I guess my whole point is that people probably don't get how much goes into that. Like, every decision is deliberate, right? Like, every video is deliberate. It doesn't just, like, poof out of nowhere, right? There's definitely this sort of stress that goes in. And then some people say something like, oh, don't stress yourself. It's like, what do you mean don't stress myself? Like, it's like I have to. If I don't, then I wouldn't even be in a position where you could say that to me because I wouldn't be here. You know what I mean?
I get you. I feel like, yeah, even like with the stuff that you're doing, it's like, yo, holy, like at one level you got the gameplay. You have to like keep yourself like mechanically like leveled out too.
Yeah.
But also with YouTube, fuck, even like what people just look at a thumbnail and they think, oh, it's like just there. Or they look at a
like
title.
that didn't come out of nowhere.
Yeah, like you actually have to sit down and find, yo, what is a nice thumbnail that's like eye catching? What's a title that will really like ring them in?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
even like in the captions or even like you adding all your edits and
There's
stuff.
a
Like
bunch
it's
of tags,
so many small
end
things.
screen where you put the fucking what's it called, the mid-roll ads. Like
Yeah.
where do I put that shit? Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it that a lot of people would be ignorant of, right? Like you look at any, I don't know, like chocolate bar or something, you read the ingredients, like, you think this came out of nowhere? Like, or like a camera, like there's so many different, it's just people are ignorant to the process, I suppose. And they're just so, not only are they ignorant, but they're so quick to judge, you know? And so it's funny because like ironically, I kind of require those people to exist because they're the easiest to get the views. The people that don't really think, they don't really care. They're just going to like watch your video and then like hit like or dislike and then throw you like a comment. And you know what's funny about like YouTube is like it doesn't care what you say on the comment as long as it doesn't break TOS. It can't distinguish if someone says something nice or something bad. So ultimately what I need to do is like I need to put it out there. If it's perfect, that's good for me. But if it's slightly imperfect, but like shippable, I'm totally fine with putting it out there, knowing that people might comment on it. Like there might be like certain things that are a little bit off, and it's like I had to convince myself a while ago that I have to be okay with that process because it's the meta game, right? It's like YouTube's not only do you make a good video, but it's also how do you do the marketing. If you like clickbait a title, and then you get people complaining about the clickbait in the title, it helps the video.
Yeah,
it technically helps the video. But then they convince themselves that by saying that, like, oh, this is a bad thing, you know, they're like hurting the video or like making criticisms or whatever. But ultimately, it helps me. So it's this like super. This is the number one like stressor in my life where I have like crazy cognitive dissonance. Where I'm like, on the one hand, I want people to be better, I want them to be smarter, so I don't want them to make dumb comments about things. But on the other hand, if I feed into that, I benefit a lot more. I get so many returns. So I told myself at some point, all right, whatever. It's a win-win. Either they shut the fuck up and they don't say anything stupid, or they don't and they help the video. But like you can see how like two parts of me are battling all the time. Like, man, I just want people to be better. But like it's good if they're not. It's like all the time, just like, which one do I care about more? But over time, it started shifting towards a more cynical view, where I'm like, fuck it, like I'll just ship something bad, or like I'll ship something like somewhat neutral. Like not the best standard. Like I could have worked on this more, but I'm just gonna ship it out. I'm like, whatever. You know, if people like it, they like it. If they don't, helps, right? So there's this. That's been my number one struggle.
I see. It's kind of like bridging. It's like weird because I think it's like that. It's like branding, ethics, and morals versus like commerciality.
Yes.
Because I feel like for a lot of like content, like end of the day, this whole like social engine or the social game of like YouTube, Instagram, TikTok or stuff is all about like people. It's so much easier when people comment hate to like blow up than is to have like a positive.
You feed them too.
Yeah.
One tip that I got from people, such a funny tip, dude. I don't mind admitting this now, but like they say something stupid.
Yeah.
You respond to them and then you fucking delete their comments so that so then they're inclined to like come back and say something. Because if they notice if they notice that you deleted it, they're gonna bitch at you, right?
Yeah.
And you can also shadow ban them, so they'll give you a comment and they won't even know that they're banned.
Yeah.
So it's like, but they deserve it, you know. And if they're saying something stupid and they start with me, it's like, how can you complain? You know what I mean? You can't dish it out if you can't handle it, right? So I've just been doing that a ton, where it's like, even if I don't want to, I'm gonna go respond to this guy, that guy, and be like, they're like saying some dumb shit, like, oh, you're stupid. I'm like, oh no, you're fucking stupid, and then delete. Right?
Yeah.
It's really funny because, do you know like pirate software or something, or pirate tips?
No.
Like he's like this dude that made this short about how like you want to turn off like notify all your subscribers, because if you notify the subscribers, a bunch of people watching shorts aren't probably not your subscribers, so YouTube checks like that it's like a lower percentage of your subscribers. Basically something to do with the algorithm.
Oh yeah.
He gave like these tips, right? Mm-hmm. And some of my viewers, one of my viewers in particular, Brian, he's my buddy. He told me he gave this like tip about like, he's like, oh, have you seen this? And so I read all these tips, and like one of them was literally just fucking delete their shit, right?
Yeah,
just,
that's
like,
crazy.
Like you troll the trolls back, and it's like, yeah, fuck it, sure. So it's like maybe like a bit of an like unethical thing, but to me, in my head, the way I justify it is like, these people are going out of their way to hate on me. They don't deserve any sort of respect, so I'm gonna just farm them. Fuck it, right? Like exactly, you're right. You know, hate viewers, hate watchers. They're easier to just farm. They're just like built like that. They're just there to be farmed, I guess. So that's like the inhuman robot way of looking at it. The human way of looking at it for me was just like, that's unfortunate. That's a person that, you know, like if we spoke face to face, they probably wouldn't say something like this, right? Like no one talks like this in real life. If you had to like look at their face, read the body language, you know, like some people are like monkey brain. They're like, oh, I'll fight you, I'll beat you. I'm like, that's not the point, right? The point is in real life, like there are different rules for sure. But I'm very aware of like how the system works, I suppose.
Yeah.
I just don't like it, I guess. You know, I've been here for 8 years or so.
Nah, I feel you. I think it's like it is hard. I feel like the whole social media is a very it's a complex relationship because I think it's like you need it to obviously blow up and have that recognition, but at the same time like I think the ways to get there, what you need to do often kind of clashes with like how you perceive yourself, your branding and your artistry. And it's like about I think the whole game of like branding or building what you're building right now is about how to make that fine balance between like your uniqueness as a creator or what you do, but at the same time that commerciality where people have like I wouldn't say necessarily controversy, but like things that will make people comment on it, engage
Right.
onto it. And it's like how can you feel this is at least for myself. I think it's like, how can I feel like great about myself, great about my branding, something that I'm positive and I really feel confident in, but at the same time make it easily digestible or something that can go viral and something that people like watching. At times I feel
Yeah.
like it's water and oil.
Yeah,
I'd
no,
say.
of course. What you said about fine balance is absolutely true. I mean, the human, we're like not built to deal with like, I guess I'll describe it like this. Before like I don't know the 21st century, no one's ever had to deal with someone knowing who the fuck they are, like even though you don't know them, like a parasocial relationship. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
like this will only happen for like I don't know like a world leader or like a general in an army. You know what I mean? The average person doesn't have to deal with like hundreds of people knowing who they are. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, like some Sun Tzu shit.
No,
Like,
no,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
literally, literally.
yeah, yeah.
Like no one's
Yeah,
the average person has not dealt with this.
yeah, yeah.
Fucking ever, dude. Imagine like you work your job, I don't know, like as a cashier and people just say hello to you like by name. They say like hi Eric or something or hi Koven,
Yeah,
right?
you'd be like, yo.
You'd be like, what? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
No
yeah.
one has to deal with that.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not making myself a victim, but I'm going to describe it as a content creator or anyone in the limelight that like gets even the shred of an audience. Even
Yeah.
like 10 people is a lot. 10 people is more than like the average. Shit, even like 2. Because when's the last time you've ever like walked on the street and someone said your name and said, I watch you, or like I know what you've done? You know what I mean? Like that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Like it's a privilege to be able to it's a privilege to have this access to someone else's life.
Yeah.
Right. But on the other side of that is like it's crazy to be that person who other people have had access to in that sort of way. I'm not saying like they watch you like take a shit or something. I'm saying like they like hear your inner thoughts. They hear us right now. This is a privilege for other people to know, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
because they normally wouldn't have this kind of conversation, right? Unless they met you and made friends with you and talked to you, right? But now they have that kind of privilege, and like we don't understand that well enough. I don't think the average person understands what it's like that to kind of hear that. It's like really off-putting for someone to just say your name, right? Even to this day, I still think it's fucking crazy that people know who I am and like they can like recant like, oh, I saw you in 2021 or something. I'm like,
Yeah, yeah.
really? Like what? Like, I mean, we do it all the time with like celebrities, right? I'm not a celebrity. I'm not even a micro celebrity. I'm just saying we do this sort of thing to celebrities where like people will know celebrities and like they'll develop that parasocial relationship, right? So like you said, water and oil, it's so weird. It's like, how do you even strike a balance where it's maybe not even up to you to determine whether or not we mix or we're water and oil. Most of the time it's up to the audience if we get to do that kind of balance, right? Because if the audience just decides one day, yeah, we're just going to be fucking annoying, you can't do anything about it. You have to either sacrifice the audience, ban them all, or you just kind of like take it in the mental, right? Because some people think like, oh, you sign up for it, you should be okay with it. Like that's the thing, right? Like construction workers sign up to work in a dangerous environment. Yeah, they might wear hard hats and protection, but like you could just get into an accident. Similarly, like us as content creators, we sign up for this job, of course, obviously, right? But it's not like we're okay with, dealing with shit. It's just that, we might have a hard hat, our band button, we might wear our boots and stuff. We have like project managers or like filters and stuff. We might have this protection, but it's not like, oh, you should be okay with it. You get what I'm saying? Like, none of us should be okay with dealing with this shit. I'm okay with anyone like, crying or complaining about like their bullshit. It's just somehow, for some reason, people have convinced themselves that creators in particular do not get to complain simply because we put ourselves in front of a camera, fucking literally in front of a camera, right? And then put a mic to our, it's like, we still get to complain. We're still human, you know what I mean? So it is definitely difficult to find that balance because a lot of us, whether we like it or not, we have to deal with this exact issue of it not being up to us whether or not we can, really find that perfect balance. Because sometimes we have to play into that kind of negativity, that kind of like, feed the trolls like drama, right? Like, this. I mean, YouTubers all the time, like if they get a chance at drama, dude, fucking of course they'll sit there and be like, oh, juicy, even if like they're like the offended party or like they can like feign it a bit. Like I don't mind admitting, sitting there going, dude, I just wish someone would like some other creator would talk shit to me so then I can just like milk it for like 3 seconds. I don't mind saying that. It's like, of course, what? It's their job, right? But on the other hand, it's also like, I kind of don't want to be in this, This is so childish.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, I get your point. And I think like what you're saying, like even you don't have the control with what the audience says. I think even at the end of the day, like we, as hard as we can work, as hard as we have the drive or capacity to do all these things, the one thing that we can never control is the culture. Like the culture will truly dictate everything, that whether like in any media, what is happening or why someone goes viral. So not like, I feel that. And like, I think to your point too, like, I think one hard thing about, and I also want to ask you about this too, as a streamer, right? Too, like when you do like Twitch or you do those streams too, like it's what do you feel any of that like difficulty having? Do you have like a form of persona or something that keeps you like kind of like how to say, like I feel if I were to stream, the one concern I always have is like, I'm scared of slipping like in those like 8 hours or 6 to 8 hours of streaming. Like I say something fucking like stupid, or like I accidentally like just like end up canceling myself. Not saying that I would, but it's like, how do you keep yourself like pristine for those moments? Yeah.
I don't. Whenever I stream, it's purely me. I made this deal with myself as well a long time ago, where it's like when I was like 18 or 19 or so, I used to pander to the audience. I used to think like, oh, I shouldn't slip, I shouldn't say anything like negative to the chatters or whatever. But one day I just decided, you know what? No, like this is so taxing to have to take it. The number one killer, I believe, besides the obvious things, number one like killer for like almost invisible conditions would be chronic stress, right? If anyone deals with chronic stress, like the worst part about it is that you don't know, right? Or you might not feel it all the time. So what I mean by this is like, I used to deal with that kind of stress of thinking I have to pander to the audience. Oh, someone was a dick to me, but I have to be nice and go like, oh, please, could you not say that? So when I was 18 or so, I decided, no, screw it. I'm going to just be myself. If I don't like you, if you say something stupid, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you exactly why as well.
Oh, shit.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is funny because as a result of doing that, I've become a lot more articulate with my feelings. As in, like, obviously I'm not like the most well-spoken. I'm just saying that, like, if I feel a certain way, I'm most likely going to be able to tell you how I feel and why, and, maybe something that you could do to fucking stop, right? So it's as simple as saying something like, hey, man, when you say that sort of, like, thing and you're, like, backseating me, I don't appreciate it. Fuck off, right? And then that eventually transforms into, like, now when I'm 25 compared to, like, then when I was 18 or 19, fuck off. Right? Like, it's just that simple for me. Because like I wouldn't mind if someone thinks I'm disrespectful about that. Because here's the thing, right? I guess if I had to give a tip to you, if you're going to stream, you're saying, oh, you're worried about slipping, you want to be pristine for 8 hours or so. My point would be like you got to be the kind of person where even if you were to slip up, you would be able to justify it or walk it back or like apologize for it. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's not necessarily that I think that I'm correct in everything that I say. It's more like I'm okay with admitting that I'm wrong if I were to be wrong or shown that I'm wrong. There are some times where like I'll blast someone and then the chat will come and defend him and be like, oh, actually he was talking to that guy. And I'm like, oh, my bad, dude. My bad. I went off on you for no reason.
After like dismantling, like roasting.
Yeah. I'll just be like, yo, shut the fuck up, bitch, right? And then they're like, I was talking to someone else, right?
Yeah.
But also there's like an attitude thing where some people, they feel entitled to like me being nice to them. It's like, I don't need to be nice to you. It's like you follow my rules and I will be nice to you. But like I'm fair, right? To me, in my head, I'm very fair. It's like if you decide to say something stupid, invalidating, parasocial, I'm gonna call it out. But if you lead with respect, like totally fine with that, right? And so I've always operated under the assumption that like as long as I'm able to apologize for something, as long as I'm able to like walk it back, I can just go, full blown, right? And that's become me for the past 6 or 7 years. That's a system that works for me. That's a system I learned from my peers and also people from my school in particular. Big shout out to my guidance counselor. He shaped how I guess I think. Right, to think very logically about these sort of situations. It's like, why should I worry about like a persona or putting on that sort of face when I can just talk people through it? Transparency and honesty has been my policy for that.
I see. So how do you feel like, I mean, even with those interactions, like how do you feel like your general like fans are or your followers? Like, do you have any like highlights about them or like just experiences
How do
with
I
them?
feel my fans are?
Yeah, like I mean like those interactions or like how your interactions on the regular.
Uh, I mean, if I had to be honest, the smart thing to do right now would be to say like, oh, I like them, but say it in a way where it doesn't sound like I'm pandering, but also in a way that's like kind of humble. But honestly, I fucking hate them. Right? I hate a lot of people.
Shit.
Seriously,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that are hateable about people. Okay, the average person that you meet, you will probably fucking hate if you have the standards that I have. Okay, I'll describe them to you. For me, my number one standard would just be I want people to think before they speak. Now that's something that a lot of people don't do. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, maybe like hate is a strong word, but I would like dislike. I dislike most of the people that I probably meet. Okay, see that's the thing. I have to find a balance of like being super honest and also I have to like be articulate with that because what I just did right there, that's a really nice punchy moment for you, and I'm giving you that one. That, oh, I fucking hate my fans, right? But now let me explain it for real, where it's like if you talk to anyone who doesn't understand that just because they watch you, you know, like you're not their friend, if they don't understand that, then that's like a really awkward conversation. Now, see, I've done this numerous times, whether it's online, but in person in particular, I can tell you this with certainty. When people come up to you, I'm nice and all, right? Like, I'm not gonna be weird or anything. I'll be like, oh, hi, and but like they'll say something like, oh, hey, you're the Nidhogg guy, and I'm like that's kind of like, how do I even use that as a conversation? You know what I mean? Like,
That's
how do
me.
I even? Yeah, like hi. See,
Yeah,
see,
yeah.
most people they think like, oh, just say like, oh yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
Right? I'm like yeah, no, exactly. That's exactly what I do because I don't want to make it awkward. I'm like, yeah, I play Nidalee. Or it's like, hey, you still play Tetris? I'm like, yeah, I play Tetris. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, it's not that I hate them. It's just like I kind of like dislike that. I like more thoughtful comments. Sometimes I'll get some people in real life that have thoughtful comments and like they've clearly made it maybe a goal, maybe not necessarily the only goal, but one of their goals would be to like make it an interesting conversation for me. For most people though, most of my fans, they just want to like say like, "Oh my god, I love you" or something. And like I'm weirded out by that. I'm like, "Thank you." That's all. What comes out is "thank you," but in my brain I'm like, "Okay."
It's like a back to the parasocial
it's just, yeah,
thing,
exactly. And like I said, most people won't be able to empathize with that position. Most people will be like, "Oh, I'd love to." It's like, "Would you really?" I don't think you would really because it doesn't just, you know, you don't get to just get the good ones or like the normal ones, right? Or like the interesting. You have to deal with all the like the fucking weird ones or like maybe people chirping me at TwitchCon or like anywhere at like PAX East or anything, just going like, "Oh, you're fucking shit," you know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
man, yeah.
yeah. So it's like they people probably don't get that, but I don't mind admitting that like I probably wouldn't like 99.9% of my fans, and like they wouldn't like me either if we talked in real life. It doesn't mean that I'm better than them. It just means that like we probably don't mesh. I have a certain way I want to talk with people. I want to like have more thoughtful conversations with people. I don't want any sort of like awkwardness or anything. So yeah, of course it would weed out most people. That's why when it comes to like my Discord or like people I talk to, it's like it's not like, oh, you have a lot of friends because you pulled from the crowd. It's more like I filtered like everyone, dude. I filtered everyone. I'll greet people respectfully, sure, but whether or not I like them, no, I don't mind saying that. Like, yeah, I don't think I'd like most people I talk to.
Yeah, I also feel like, I mean, League of Legends itself is a very
Oh, of course.
it's a very toxic ass game.
That's a good point. Yeah.
For those who don't know, like League of Legends, I think actually like is one of those games that will. I don't know any other game but League that will make you lose it. Like the level of like just how the community is, how everyone is. Like I think it's fair for you. I mean, I gotta bring up some points. Like I get it because like, yo, League of Legends is one thing, but another thing too is like, yo, you're just a human, bro. You're just trying to do your day-to-day stuff. Like it's awkward, it's weird to be like approached by people, and like especially if it's from not a good place, like a weird like attitude or energy, fucking uncomfortable, and to feel like you have to. It's just like you're on edge. Like you'll be on edge in public
always.
when you're like around that kind of thing, and like yeah, like I feel you. Like I think it's absolutely fair for you to cultivate this kind of environment in like on your like streams, like to, you know, ban people, mute them, block them or whatever, because end of the day, dude, this is your whole like it's whatever you can do to make
day-to-day.
your career sustainable and not like mentally keep it like in check. Like you need to do that, and I think it's healthy as fuck to do that, to have that kind of boundary with your like fans or whoever
Yeah,
watches
some
you.
people. It's so fun. I'm glad you say the healthy thing because a lot of people say, "Oh, it's unhealthy to do it like this." I'm like, "Are you serious? If I let everything come through, if I like, you can't just ignore something. Like if I tell you something or if I leave a comment on your video and you see it, like you physically see it, like you can't ignore that. Some people think like there's a superpower where you can just ignore comments. I'm like, that's not even possible, dude. You're gonna at some point like acknowledge that, whether it's immediately or maybe later.
Yeah,
But like again, I think it's just because people don't empathize, right? Like you're right about the league thing. I'm probably very biased. I will admit that now. I definitely see that where it's like I'm biased because the league community in particular, bro. These are not normal people. Like if
Yo,
you
they're,
like,
yeah, they're not.
I don't
normal,
mind
bro.
saying this out loud because the people the people that like are well adjusted, they wouldn't take offense to what I'm saying. The people who are addicted and like really nerdy or something or really stupid, like they would take offense to what I'm saying. Like I'm the
Yeah.
biggest nerd. I can totally say this. I'm allowed to say this. If you play League every day, you sacrifice something. Okay.
Yeah.
If you watch, I'm not gonna say if you watch me, you're stupid. What I'm saying is like if this is like your life, like you play a lot of League, you watch a lot of League, you're most likely someone who is like missing something else in your life, right? Like literally just based on time alone. How are you spending like 3 hours a day playing League or more and having a productive life? I mean, you could do it. It's just, I don't think I wouldn't bet on the average person doing that. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's like that's where I've called to this attitude over years and years, and it is pretty cynical. It's a lot easier for me to just say something like, "Oh, I love you guys. Oh, I appreciate that." But like this helps people to hear like, "Oh shit, maybe I need to make a change," because I've done this before. I've told people. I've actually changed a lot of people's minds on these sort of things. So they've told me afterwards, like, "Yeah, dude, I quit League," or like, "Oh, I appreciate your influence here. Like, I realized I was addicted." Like, I don't mind, putting it in their face where it's like, "Yo, you're being a bad viewer right now. It's probably because you're a bad person and because of blah 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 blah." And like, obviously, like 99% of the time, they just go like "fuck you." But like that 1% of the time where they like message me like years later on Discord or they say it right then or acknowledge it, that's what drives me honestly to just be fully honest with people. Because if anything, like this is what they would need to hear, right? The people who are not affected, they know they're not the ones that I'm talking about. The people who are affected, well, they need to hear it. You know what I mean? So I do that sort of thing where I definitely do justify a lot of my actions with like the outcome, like right where it's like sometimes you can make a good change for someone in a way that like a parent giving like a harsh lecture would, right? Obviously, I'm not anyone's parent. I'm not in a position to have that over anyone. But if someone's gonna come at me with some dumb shit, right, from the audience, I wouldn't mind taking it like that. Instead of doing the unhealthy thing of like just going, "Oh, I'm sorry, let me pander to you," you know what I mean? Or like
I
taking
see.
it, or
I
like
feel you.
like ignoring it is not ignoring it, right? I ask any of my content creators, right? I'm not gonna name them, but every single one of them hates their audiences with like in the sense that they wouldn't like read the comments. They don't. They don't even edit their own videos. So they like whenever you see a big YouTuber, when they leave that little like leave a like and comment, that's not them.
Yeah.
That's their editor putting the video out there and doing all the tags and everything. I do it myself, so of course I'm gonna read more comments. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like most creators I know, they don't interface with their audience ever, right? So it makes you think, oh, they love their audience. No, they don't. Like, hello.
It's
So,
like the comments are like a wasteland. Like it's like
yeah,
there's
you wouldn't.
so
Why
much
would
shit.
you go there?
It's like the
Yeah.
Wild West out there.
Yeah. Dude, I was on a team when I was in 2017. I played with, I don't know if you like know Red Mercy.
Yeah,
or
those are
Heisman.
all
Oh,
they're like
nice.
leaks. I don't know
Yeah.
them, but like I
Yeah.
know them, the
Yeah.
streamers.
I
like,
don't mind
stuff.
naming them because like
Yeah.
they're out of the scene now. But I remember them telling me the exact thing of like, why the fuck would you read that? And then I'm like, what do you mean? Like I was like 18 then.
Yeah.
Right, and like here's Heisman and Red Mercy, like way older than me, way ahead of me, and they're just like, dude, why the fuck would you talk to these people? I'm like, what do you mean? Like they're people. Like I like to see what they say, but I get them now. I get them now, right? Where it's like, now I'm the age they were when they told me when I was 18. I'm like, I get it. You guys hate them. I hate them too.
God
So,
damn.
Yeah.
Nah, I feel you. And I mean, like, even, I guess another thing too, like with you, because you've been in this, like, I would say this industry. Well, you're playing like League for a minute, but I guess kind of like, what would you say, like 6 to 8 years now you've been in the creator scene?
Yeah, since 16. So, oh shit. I mean, 9 years of age, but probably 8 years total. Yeah.
And I guess like looking like back at it, or even like if you were to like look at it right now, because I think even your position as like a streamer, creator, editor is very unique. I think like one thing, which is I think a blessing, and I love hearing this from you, is that you fucking love your stuff. You love your
Yeah, I love
job.
my
You
stuff,
love editing. You love doing this stuff, which is beautiful. I would say like honestly, I would say like 90%, if not even more, people in their whole life don't get to find that like one passion that clicks with them that they get to keep like for them. I think that's like, it's just like some like what we call psych 101 bullshit, but it's like, when you have like survival
the
and
hierarchy,
at the top,
right?
Self-actualization.
Actualization.
You are,
right.
I would say, one of those few that have been blessed, whether it's luck, privilege, hard
No,
work.
it's luck. Yeah.
Like all that to be able to find that. I think even, but like looking back at it or looking at it all, what do you think for you is like the hard parts about doing your thing, and what do you think is the best part about doing your thing?
The hard parts about doing
like
my job,
creating, streaming, everything. What do you think is the hardest?
The hard part would be the maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
Any creator that gets to around even like close to my standing, even like half, we're lucky. Like let's make sure that's very clear. I'm unbelievably grateful to like the universe as well as like the audience. The audience as a whole, not any one individual. You know what I mean? But I'm grateful that I was given that kind of opportunity. Like truly grateful, because if you think about any like what should I call it? Like a following, or let's just say like a viewer base or whatever. Any sort of following like that doesn't necessarily come from just hard work. I would say it's like 90% luck, dude. Like whether or not the YouTube algorithm pushes your video, like that's not up to you. Not really, right? Like technically, like yes, there are some things you can do, right? Search engine optimization, or like you got a good thumbnail, or like you play the game well. You know what I mean? There's obviously that sort of part. So that's the hardest thing. It's like the 10% of the pie that I can like actually influence. I need to make sure I'm doing that well. The rest is I click upload and then do all my stuff, and then I hit like public. Pray to God the algorithm goes, because I literally check this, by the way. Some videos it'll have like a higher percentage of like click through, but a lower amount of impressions. Right? So like if a video does really well and a video doesn't do as well, like two videos, if you compare them, it's not necessarily, oh, this video is good, this video is bad, right? Sometimes I'm like, this video just got unlucky, man. So it's like what I have to do is I have to make sure that like if it were to get lucky, it is as best as it could be. Does that make sense? So I do the maintenance thing. I'm like cleaning up, but everything else is just hitting the fucking gamble button, seeing if it'll go through. You know what I mean? Seeing if like, oh, did like 3 other league YouTubers upload that day and did they bump me down? Oh, well, unlucky. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you could obviously work around that, but like there are hundreds of thousands of creators, right? It's very saturated now. If you were to try to get into the content creation space, unfortunately, you don't even get a chance to have the maintenance thing, because you'd have to rely on the luck. So do you get what I mean? So it's like I was lucky enough to get here. Now I have to make sure I maintain that. I keep that. You know what I mean? It's like some people win the lottery and like they just blow it all, and it's like you're fucking stupid, right? And like some people win the lottery and they invest it and they're smart with it. You know what I mean? So I'm just trying to be smart with it, I suppose. That's the hardest part. Like me saying some of the things I do today might not help, but again, I'm striking the balance, right? But the what was the other question? The easier
I
parts?
think actually, even to your point, to the hardest part, I get what you mean, because like I think a lot of creators, or I would say streamers, they'd blow up for certain moments, but it's like it goes back to the idea of culture. It changes, and if you don't maintain and learn how to like adjust to the differences or the new forms of culture, I think even one thing that's hard for even like your stuff too is even like the state of the game. Like I feel like literally like relevancy in the game itself like actually matters a lot to that thing as well.
That's true.
And I think end of the day is like you have to like always constantly adapt and change your taste for what. Like, I'm sure you can look at a video or you clip a moment, you're like, yo, this is probably going to do well. Or at least you have a better idea of like, yo, this is more likely to do well than something else.
Yeah.
And I think you like cultivated that, and that it takes a lot of effort actually to build your taste for like moments.
Yeah, staying in tune with culture is a big one. I like that you bring up culture, because like that's so true. Like whether it's like vocabulary, your vernacular, right? Or maybe just like the way in which you say certain things, right? Like people say yapping so much now. They come to my stream and they go like, this guy's yapping a lot. I'm like,
this guy's a yapper.
I'm like, but it's I'm on stream. Like, am I supposed to not yap? You know what I mean? Like I have to remember that like a lot of these motherfuckers are born past 2000, and I'm like, oh my God, I gotta talk like them, dude. Skibbity, you know, like skibbity, dude. I just like, I feed them little breadcrumbs, even though I think it's fucking stupid. Like I just like feed them little things like, oh, skibbity lol, you know, and then like when I say that out loud, like my comments are like, did he just say
the word?
Yeah,
he said the word.
Yeah. Like, so it's just like, God, like, am I really that old or something? Like, I'm not. I'm 25. I'm very young relative to like, the media presence, but I'm very old relative to gamers.
Yeah.
Particularly the League demographic, and like the biggest audiences, which is Roblox, Fortnite, and Minecraft, I believe. So if I ever get some of the viewers that come from those kind of areas, like if I talk like them, it helps. It definitely helps. And like, you're right about the League thing, like the toxicity. Like, I never want to lean into the toxicity, right? But so I've never done that. I've never like made any content off of like flaming people in game. I do the exact opposite, right? I go,
Yeah.
don't do that. Don't talk shit first. But it would have been so easy to just blow up like that if I just talk shit about people and get more views like that. So yeah, culture is important, but maintaining your sort of like I got to be able to wake up and be like, I'm doing this properly. So
Yeah, it's like-
sometimes I
yeah.
can't play into the culture. I have to say, no, this is not culture. This is just you guys being stupid.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Or like you guys being assholes.
Yeah.
Right. So there's that balance.
No, I feel you. And like I think like just one quip on the whole like League culture stuff too. Like I got banned like 3 times on League. Like I'm like pretty toxic. Actually, at
How
one
old?
point, okay, I was like 13, 14.
Okay.
And then, but now, like when I played like recently, not like anytime, like maybe a couple years ago. You know what I actually do? My League name is my full name. My full name, Koven Way, and it's fucking like you will find me regardless. But the way I do it, I don't know why, because I actually enjoy flaming, because I think it's like what do you call it? It's like a wordsmith. It's almost like a rap battle. You know what I mean? So
to you.
to me, but I don't flame in a way that like is like, in a sense, derogatory or like anything that's like purposely like mean. It's more like a quip or like a banter with them, and I always put my full name because I don't know why I did this, but at the time I wanted them to know that it was coming straight from me. Like I wasn't a stranger on the internet. It was like, yo, I meant this. Go find me if you want to talk. Let's talk about it.
That's better than most that hide behind a screen for sure. A lot of people like to hide behind the screen and talk shit. And if you're gonna do it, at least do it like Koven here.
Keeping it 100.
Fucking idiot.
Yeah, but anyways, like I guess I mean the other part with like your thing too, like what do you think is your like best moments or like the best parts about like doing what you're doing?
The best parts would be the 1% of people from my audience that I can actually end up talking to and hearing out and maybe even become my friends over time. They're the meaningful connections that make it really, really awesome. I mean, for example, Lavinia here in studio today, my girlfriend, right? We met off of my stream, right?
Yo!
So yeah, that's a cool thing.
What's
right?
the story?
What's the story? I can make some shit up, but you want the story?
Yeah,
It's
give
kind
me
of a bad story.
Okay, we don't gotta talk about it if it's like a bad thing, but I want. Okay,
but for you, okay, for you, with permission. Okay, so, when I was with my ex, we had some troubles, and I'm never gonna say that I was a perfect person in these sort of relationships either. Nothing illegal, of course, but I'm just saying, like, I was stupid. I was 20, 21, and so we were both really stupid, me and my ex, and we just had like really ridiculously stupid spats, issues, and over time, we eventually grew apart. And so one of the things that happened was she broke up with me, and so then I'm like, okay, right, that sucks. And so then I started hanging out with my Discord a lot more, right, talking to people in my Discord, and I just started inviting people to like come chat. I was lonely, right? I was just lonely. I was 20 or so, and so she actually ended up being one of the people that came in and talked. But we were just friends. We were simply just friends. Okay, so this we chatted for like maybe a couple months, just here and there, hello, whatever, and then eventually I got back together with my ex, okay? And so for the next year, we're doing the same thing basically, right? We're just going at it, just really, really unfortunate fights and stuff. Just me being super stupid, okay? So then after a year or so of that, we break up again, right? We break up again, but one of the catalysts for that was she didn't particularly enjoy that, like, I had certain people around, right? So, my girlfriend was one of them. Even though I had nothing going on with my girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
Nothing happened in there. No, seriously, like if I wouldn't mind admitting, like, yeah, I was a bit of a hound dog, right? But like, no, I wasn't. I literally wasn't. I had nothing to do with any of those girls, but she didn't like them anyway, right? So, eventually I had to like kick them out, right? I made the choice. I made the call. I'm like, okay, my girlfriend at the time is saying I'm not comfortable with these people, right? I'm like, okay, right, I'll sacrifice that. Unfortunate. So right after I end up breaking up with my ex, I immediately go to those people and go, I'm sorry for the way I had to treat you. I was kind of like hands tied, right? So, I mean, we were all stupid back then, but I'll take the blame for that one, right? So then I ended up talking to her, and then over the next months and months of just like chatting, I'm like, huh, I really like this girl. Like, I was like, obviously in my head, I'm like, oh, is this a rebound? I'm like, not really. I was kind of over that relationship, right? A lot of relationships, I feel, end like way before like you actually do the breakup. You know what I mean? You kind of do the slow, like
it's like checkout.
Yeah, you check out, but you're also like you know it's there, but you're too pussy to say like let's just break up. You know what I mean? It's that sort of thing. I was yeah right. Like I mean, I was a dick. I was a dick to my ex. You know, a lot of the times I just favor playing my friends over her, and when we played, we didn't really mesh. It was just kind of like a water and oil, right? Like you said earlier, it's just water and oil. So I don't think it was necessarily anyone's fault, but we definitely could have done it better. I'll take the blame on that one, right? So I realized with Lav, I'm like, oh, like we would chat. She met through stream and she watched me and stuff, and like we just chatted a ton. I'm like, wow, we have a lot more in common within like a week of talking than I'm like, oh shit, with the other girl, right?
Yeah.
So it just kind of. I had to go through all the works of like, make sure I'm doing this because it's not a rebound. I'm not doing this out of spite or anything. I genuinely like this girl. I did that. And then I'm like, oh, okay. So then I asked her out eventually. And we, ta-da. 3 years later, we're here.
Dude, I think that's beautiful. I mean, I see why your ex was cheese.
Is it beautiful?
I think your ex was cheese because she was holding you back from finding the right one.
Okay, I mean... That's a funny line. As boys behind the scenes, I probably laugh at that, but I'm gonna go ahead and say, no, it was probably because I was a dick.
Okay, I mean, end of the day, I think in a sense,
so funny.
You know what? I think in a sense it is a beautiful thing because like, hey, I think even if within the week, you find you find a lot of commonality with each other. Like if it feels natural, it feels right, and I don't think there's ever anything like further. You can't really analyze so much as to like vibes. Like I think that's like that's almost like a whole like a humanity thing. If it feels
Call
right,
it a vibe
it feels
check.
right.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
Don't analyze the vibes. You'll ruin it, right? I mean, what's funny is we had great vibes because her best friend from college, or one of her best friends, she ended up dating my brother. So and they were both dealing with like a breakup as well, which is the funny part. So I'm sitting there talking to Lavinia, and we're playing games, and then she invites her friend, and we start playing games. And my brother's sitting there. My brother's 4 years older than me, and we're close. So we start playing games together. So all four of us start playing games, and like I like her obviously, and she likes me, and we're kind of doing this little dance. And then I thought it'd be funny. I'm like, what if Grace like Kevin too? And so then they end up liking each other, and then we all go to a rave together.
Yeah,
we all seal the deal there. So it's like it's beautiful in that sense, like the story. But the actual, like, the slog through, if I think about it, I'm like, damn, that was, like, kind of a weird thing like, a weird inception. There's no, like, crazy romantic thing, but, yeah, it's beautiful in that sense. If we're
it's
really
like a coming of age kind of beauty, too.
Almost, yeah. I mean, what was I, like, 21? Oh, I just turned 22, I think. Yeah, I just turned 22 then.
But, yeah.
Or I mean, something like that, like, so, yeah, I was pretty fucking stupid coming off a relationship where I made a lot of mistakes. So,
well, yeah, I mean, I get you, and I think that goes to like, I mean, sorry, this is like a whole like deviation, but it goes back to that 1% of like,
oh shit, yeah,
that
what 1%,
the thing that you enjoy the most about streaming.
Oh,
I think
yeah,
connection, having that 1% of that audience that you can really connect with.
Right. I mean, there you go. That's just one example, right? Like getting a girlfriend, or like making all the friends that I have over the years where. If you pass all my filters, all the checks and balances of like what makes you a good person in my eyes, once you clear that, like, I love you, right? I love these guys. So my boys in Discord, like, a lot of the times I know that like it's kind of a weird word to use, but like I have their kind of like loyalty, right? I was gonna say fealty. I'm like, oh, that's too much. But like I'm loyal to them too, right? If they need anything, I'll do that. And it's that sort of relationship that I've been able to cultivate with like less than 1% of people, but again, if they pass that, it's this kind of it's like making a best friend, but making a lot of them. Like everyone says best friend, but like I have like a lot of best friends for like different reasons. Like they have different qualities about them that are nice. But the one common binding trait would just be like they're good people. They're just like, you know, I really enjoy that part. So it might be a weird answer, but I like the best part of like streaming and doing all this is that turns out if you cast a huge net into the ocean, you know, and I've gotten all these people, at some point I'm gonna catch a good fish, right? So I've done just that, and you know they're with me to this day, and you know we chat, we play games daily. You know they can always talk to me, I can always talk to them if I need, and that's been the best part.
I feel you, because like I guess I assume in a sense you kind of have these like, well, which is fine, like having standards for like the people that you want to have these connections with, but I assume you have like a lot of filters, because end of the day, like you want to be surrounded people that are good vibes and are good people, and to have that you need high standards.
Yeah.
And I figured like you're right, like you had a lot of people come into your life, come and go, just be involved around you, and you just started to slowly accumulate those people that you really like resonate with or vibe with. And
Yeah.
that is very beautiful in a sense. It's because of
Thanks.
this whole streaming thing, like building that community as well.
Yeah, and one thing I'd say to others is like, don't idolize me, because if you idolize me, you would take offense to me not liking you. It's like, I'm just a random dude. Honestly, I'm just some random dude. Like, why would anyone take offense to a random person going like, oh, I don't like you, you know what I mean? So if someone told me that, I'd be like, okay, I guess I don't like you either, right? Like we just wouldn't be a good fit, you know what I mean? So it's like, I think everyone can kind of relate to this. It's just maybe they might feel like barred from doing so because they see me as a content creator. But the moment someone can see me as like just a human, just a dude, I think they can understand that part where like I just want to have like cool people around me. Just like, you know, we got to share like common traits. Like we got to not be dicks in video games, for example, right? Like that's a pretty easy filter. Well, depends.
Yeah. Nah, I feel you.
I mean,
I guess even I guess another thing too is like, you know, wait, when did so you start streaming in like, or even doing this in like 2016?
2016.
2016, and I guess at that time you were like what?
I know the exact date. March 15th, 2016, dude. Because that's when my first girlfriend broke up with me. March 14th, the day after, I went straight to the grind set.
God damn. And fuck, you were so at that time you were like what, like 16?
I was 16.
16.
Yeah.
So okay, so I guess this is like, I guess one thing that we like to even like just put out, especially for anyone that's interested in what you're doing and also wants to be in within that community too, right? And I like to say this as a conversation to kind of like your past self too, is like, if you were to look at, you know, the Eric of 16 right before you got to streaming, let's say you got transferred into a portal, right? You're allowed to have this 1 minute conversation with Eric. What do you think you would say to him when he's getting
1 minute?
Yeah. Or here, let's give it longer. Whatever, you just have this one moment with him. What would you say to that Eric who's about to get into all of this? Like, what are like the tips would you give him? Like,
I'm prepping my bars, dude.
All right, drop him some bars. Yo.
Kidding. All right, you ready?
Yes, let's go.
Number 1, you're about to become very fucking rich. 2018 Fortnite, 2020 Among Us. You're going to do it with BoxBox. You're going to allow him to host you whenever you want. Forget pride, forget morals. You've learned like this. You've been taught this by your parents and the people around you. I want you to forget it for about 5 years, cash out, and then you can filter everyone else. Just take that. You're going to get chronic stress. Make sure you sleep, right? Make sure you drop out of high school early as well to do this, because you will be fucking rich, okay? Done there. Not even a minute. 30 seconds is all I need. That's all I need. If 16-year-old me could guarantee that it was 25-year-old me, as in like there's a way to like confirm that like he knows it's me, he would listen to me. I would know, because when I was 16, I thought I'd probably listen to myself in the future.
Yeah,
I'm not even
I
kidding
feel
you.
you.
I'm not even kidding you, because after I broke up with my girlfriend, I thought I need to listen to like the people ahead of me, because you know I had some people telling me about my relationships and stuff, and like I didn't listen to them.
All right,
But
that's true.
But I knew I should. I knew I should. Because oh my fucking god, dude, how many opportunities have been missed? Because I was a hound dog when I was younger. I've had 7 girlfriends now, with her being my last, of course, honey. So it's so fucking funny. My brother tells me this, and sorry if this is too much of a deviation, but my brother told me something really funny. How every time I break up, I power up. So. I'm not even kidding you. It's the funniest thing, because it's so true. Every time I break up with a girl, I just launch into like a new like gear. Like I just go into a next level of like productivity. So I don't think I needed that, but it was funny. So 2018 Fortnite, I was gonna go pro, but I couldn't because the girl was over and I wasn't allowed to practice. She wanted to spend time, right? I was trying to scrim, but I couldn't. 2020, I played Among Us. That got ruined. I made so much. I don't mind admitting this. Off of like one video, just one video, and I made 6 of them. I made like $1,100 or something like that. Crazy. And if I put more mid-roll ads, it would have been more. It was a 15-minute video. So if I just made more Among Us videos and played into that, because people thought I was crazy good at Among Us. I peaked my stream numbers, right? People loved watching my premieres.
Social engineering type shit.
Not even kidding you, dude.
Yeah,
People
yeah.
loved watching me play
Yeah.
Among Us because I was able to lie to someone's face while keeping a straight face.
Yeah.
People thought I was a psychopath. I'm not a psychopath. I just thought it was like good acting, you know? I'm like,
Yeah.
because I'm a bit of a theater kid, a little bit cringe, right? But like, yeah, I liked acting. So Among Us was perfect for me, man. I could just sit there and be like, no, actually, I fucking wasn't there. I was actually both. You know what I mean? I do a little bit of that, a little bit of social. But the reason why that fell apart was because of my ex, right? One of my exes, and we fell into an issue with that, and yeah, so funny because I don't know if you know this guy's Toast.
Yeah.
You know
He's from fucking Waterloo, no? Or like,
Oh, really?
he's actually here. Like, from
stunning.
He came from like Laurier or Waterloo, which is
Nice.
crazy. Anyways, I don't
That's
know.
pretty cool.
It's just cool for me to like.
So he. It's so funny hearing him talk about his story with Among Us because apparently, okay, I'm sorry to start any rumors. I don't think this is a rumor though. Like I believe he discussed this publicly about how like it was a bit of an issue when he would play Among Us with his girlfriend at the time, and like the way in which he would act, right, where he was basically like lying and shit to someone's face. You know what I mean? Like it's a little bit of it's a little bit of like emotional manipulation kind of.
Yeah.
So it's funny hearing him say that. I'm like, fuck, I dealt with the same thing, but Toast made he probably made a fuck ton. I did the calculations, right, based off my numbers. I'm like, god damn, like that was really lucrative for him. So yeah, number one tip to 2016-year-old me: get on the Among Us.
Fortnite Among Us.
Fortnite and then Among Us. Get on the waves early, right? And then in 2023, League Arena. He wouldn't know what it means, but if he wrote that down, League Arena.
League
right?
Arena. 3 words. Fortnite, Among Us, League Arena.
Yes. Easy. That would be the easiest way. And I'd also probably tell him, you. This might be a trashy thing to say, but you can get sex whenever you want. Don't focus on it right now. Just don't care. Yeah, like there's an infinite amount of time to go get with chicks. Right now, 16, take advantage of the fact that you're considered a prodigy, right? Because like 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, you're a prodigy. 19, you're just a bumfuck nobody, you know what I mean? Like no one cares about you and your achievements after you're 18 because that's expected of you. You're now supposed to be like an economically responsible, like a driver of the economy or something, right? Like, but before 18, they would treat you as like a fucking, like a prodigy, some sort of like phenomenon. So I would tell them, take advantage of that right now. Even though it's bullshit. Even though no one before 18 is a fucking prodigy, fuck them all. They're not geniuses. You're not. You're just lucky, right? I would tell them, take advantage of that title. Seriously. Because after 19 or after 18, no one cares. You're just a dude. You know what I mean?
Nah,
so
I get you.
Right? Like if you're like a rapper at like 16 and you drop great bars, you could repeat the same bars at 19. Who cares, right? It's like, oh, it's just a lyricist, right? So I had a particular issue realizing that. I realized that way later. I realized that after 18, right? Because everyone does, where it's like, oh shit. I mean, I think the best way to relate would be like the Asian kid syndrome. Do you know what that is? Maybe I'm saying it wrong, but like Asian kids always get like forced to do really well in school.
Oh
They're told
yeah,
they're
like the
geniuses
Asian,
and
like the
shit.
Asian kid timeline, like the gifted timeline.
Yeah. You're not a gifted kid. You're just forced to fucking study. Like, let's be fucking real, right?
Yeah.
The reason why I say this is not to be mean to people, but it's to keep them humble. Because the moment you think you're actually a genius, the moment you're told like you're gifted for like, I don't know, years of your life because you skipped grade 3 or something. It's like you're gonna think that you're actually a genius, right? And then you hit 18, you realize you go to college, you're like, wait a minute, no, I'm not. I'm like the rest of these guys. I was just a little bit ahead when I was younger. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would say play into that perception, but don't actually think of yourself like that. That would be the best. Because most Asian kids that I meet, like they have this exact issue of like being the top of their class, but then the moment they enter the real world, where it's not just like easy fucking 10th grade homework and like trigonometry or something, they get wrecked. They get wrecked because they realize they're not special. So if you realize you're not special early, and like accept that, I'm probably just a stat. Like for me, like I'm probably just a stat. I just got lucky, the better it is for you in the long run, because then you won't take offense to like, you're washed up or something. It's like, yeah, I'm just normal.
Because you make peace with it. Because I feel
I
like
make peace with it.
to your tip, and I get this, is like you don't want to be gifted because you forever feel like that if you can't make that idealized like version of yourself, you like basically just feel like you fell off forever.
Yeah,
perpetually.
Why would I set that up there? I already do that for my work. Why would I do that for myself as a person?
Yeah.
Right? It's like, fuck being like the perfect person, right? Like I get called out for using the R word, right? All the time. Like that's just one example. I'm like, there's so many things that can improve, right? Like whether it's like eating habits or like waking up. I'm like, fuck, like, I don't want. I'm not trying to set this crazy high standard for everything. I'll work on one thing at a time. So to all the people out there, if you have like this sort of I have to be perfect, I have to be a perfect boyfriend, perfect person, it's like shit, bro. That's gonna do a lot more harm than good. Because like the hubris to assume that you can actually meet that expectation, that's gonna kill you. So I think that's something I played into when I was 16. I thought I had to be perfect in everything, in every way, and I just wasn't.
I feel you. And I guess even just to close this off, like the last question as well is like if you were to give advice, or I mean a lot of this was already gems and gold, but I would say if you were to give like advice to anyone who's looking to become like a creator, streamer, gamer, like whatever this form of creation that you're involved in right now, what do you think you would tell them?
First of all, I want you to remember this one stat where if you have even 2 digits like watching you as a streamer, or like even a couple hundred subs or something, you are automatically in like the top, like 10%. The point is this market is saturated. If you don't have like a gimmick, if you don't have something that like drives you ahead, you're going to lose. You will lose. So if you're going to start, you have to be willing to admit that maybe you weren't the kind of person that would make it. And even if you were, maybe you didn't get lucky enough. That's a big one. It's 90% luck. I'm going to say that, right? So I guess I just try to humble whoever thinks that they're the main character, because I certainly did, and I got lucky that I got even like a side character role. You know what I mean? I'm only 121K. That's like barely anything compared to the actual 1%. It's enough to stay afloat for sure, but Jesus, I don't think I'd do it again. If I could go back like 16, give like the real answer, hey kids, stay in school.
Oh shit. Yeah,
So-
I know what you mean.
But like obviously knowing what I know, like I could take advantage of that stuff. But that's 9 years of hindsight. But if I had to talk to the 16-year-olds right now, it's like, yeah, I get it. I was just like you guys. I wanted to make video games my life because I didn't think I wanted to do anything else. Now I would be a teacher. I realized that like recently, like I'd love to be a teacher if I weren't a streamer. Fucking love it right now. But of course, a 16-year-old wouldn't want to think like, oh, I want to be a doctor. I want to be this. Like a 16-year-old wants to fucking game and like be famous, right? Like, but if I had to humble them, and I should, it'd be my responsibility. Just remember, most of this shit is out of your control, and even if it is, you could just get unlucky. So be ready for that, I suppose. Go in with the mindset that it's your hobby, it's not your job, it's something that you'd like to do, but something that might not happen. So I don't know, go flip some burgers and do this in your off time. Go to university, right? And like meet people, make real connections, learn how to talk, and become like an actual human being before fucking assuming you can be famous. Do it on the side until it becomes actually reasonable. And I think that's probably the most prudent approach there. It would definitely filter out a lot of the 8-hour grinders to 1 viewer streams. It's just like, I'm sorry to say, it's just not, it's not responsible for a lot of people to be doing this.
Yeah. And I mean, beautifully spoken. I feel like at the end of the day, you can play all the cards right, but still lose the game. And that's just literally called life.
Yes. You could. You absolutely fucking could. There's so many people that I see that are like, holy shit, this guy's so much more talented than me. Right? I might work harder, but like this guy, like his gimmick or her thing, this is great. I'm lucky they're not above me. It's like it's a little bit of a razor edge there where it's like, I see some people that I know would beat me in the race, but they didn't even get the ticket to join. So it's like, thank God, because the less talented people out there, the higher my channel is gonna go. But it's also like, fuck, I feel bad for them too because they just didn't get a shot. You know what I mean? They just like, what if you like go to The Voice, one of those shows like for talent, and like you just like got sick or something. Like that's how it is in the content creation world. If you're trying to sell yourself, shit, you better get lucky. You better be on your A game the moment there's like a camera on you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the beauty of life. Just a bunch of like random things happening.
It's the beauty, but
Yeah.
it's also fucking terror for a lot of people. So
Yeah.
I feel kind of bad, not gloating, but like flaunting the fact that, hey, I'm here. I made it, you know. So I will always remember that I got lucky.
For
Promise
sure.
that.
And I think like everyone here appreciates like even the trials and tribulations to get to that point. Like it is a very
Yeah.
difficult thing, but God, it is, I would say it is for a lot of creatives super fucking fulfilling. And like hearing all these like perspectives from you and these like just outlooks on even your career is like super motivating for those like that want to get involved or even want to like just be realistic with like
hopefully
those kind of like goals and what they want to aim for. So, you know,
Yeah.
like I'd like to thank you for just being on here, man. Like it was such a amazing thing just to like talk about.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. This was fun. I actually really like this.
Yes,
It's
sir.
pretty sick.
All right, Ryan. It's a cut. Yo, thank you guys for watching. We'll catch you guys soon. Mr. Eric, King Nidhogg.
Thank you for having me.
Hey.